Recording is on.
Hello and welcome to the Monday, 3rd of May, 2021 DXbiz Dev Call. Today, we're going to have, on the agenda we're going to start with new member introductions. And then we will brainstorm basically DXbiz products, business development opportunities. So the first one would be Omen, so like Omen markets, Omen communication strategies, and business development that we can do. And I personally have a couple of ideas. Then we could do a quick brainstorm for Swapper as well, and some of the business dev opportunities that we have there. And maybe if we'll have time, we can do like a brief intro to Hats, which is a project that I've been involved with. But there's going to be like more next week where the other guys will join. And yeah, I think this is mostly for the agenda. If anyone has anything else they want to add, feel free to add here in the chat. And let's get started with introductions. I think we have quite a few new people. So feel free to unmute yourself, tell us about yourself. You don't have to say where you're from, but you know, what expertise you have. Yeah. Who wants to go first? Is Laurent new? I think, and there's.
Hello, guys. Yes, Laurent here. Yeah, I'm just gonna quickly introduce myself. I've been in a crypto space for the last 4 years. At the same time, I'm also managing a boutique consulting firm, mostly on the marketing and product development side of the business. Yeah, in terms of crypto, I've been involved in NFT, metaverse projects, as well as P2P payments, and some ICO back in 2017 as a consultant. So I'm gonna also introduce my consulting partner, who is also here for the first time, Fadi Elias. I'll let him introduce himself. Yeah, Fadi, are you there? Yeah.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Sorry, my name couldn't show up. It's the first time I used this application. I had a bit of an audio problem there. So my name is Fadi Elias. I'm in London. I'm a professional consultant, management consultant. So I come from the traditional consulting houses of doing the consulting practices. What I can, I'm joining this community. First of all, thank you for allowing us into this community. And my interest really lies in 2 areas. First, the crypto in itself as a new concept, as a way of generating a media for exchange between people. And number 2, in terms of marketing. And in marketing, there are 2 areas that I think are relevant here. First is the marketing in a multi-sided market, which is the marketing for any platform like the cryptocurrency. And second, potentially something that can be of use for our case, which is viral marketing. And I think this could be very relevant, and if done properly, this can yield very big results for this community. And I look forward to working with you on this.
Thank you, Fadi.
Okay. Yeah, welcome, guys. How did you find out about DXbiz, if I can ask?
Well, actually, Nathan found me on LinkedIn. That's how it all happened. So yeah, he and Melanie. I spoke to them, and yeah, that's how I learned about DXbiz.
Oh, sorry, I muted myself as I was talking. Feel free to drop in information about yourself, like here in the chat, and then usually the next steps forward will probably be like to open a Telegram group with some of the members of DXbiz and yeah, like get the ball rolling and figuring out like what are the next steps. So yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Looking forward to working with you guys.
Welcome.
right. Any other comments? Or I think Jason raised his hand that he wants to speak. So. Yeah, do you want to introduce yourself, Jason? 0x Jason? I don't know, I'm looking at the other names, if there's anyone new. I see like a bunch of people with no name. And Francesco, are you new?
Yep. Yeah, I am. Hi. I introduced myself last week, I believe, or yeah, 2 weeks ago. I'm junior full stack dev front end. We'll probably start with Omen anytime soon. Very excited.
Amazing.
Thanks.
And then we have like a few like fellow Jitsers, which are not talking.
It looks like 0x Jason is unmuted.
Oh, yeah, 0x Jason, do you want to talk?
Okay, my name is Jason.
Hello, yes, we can hear you.
I have been in crypto space. Hello? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I have been in crypto space and worked and contributed on different projects with Ethereum, Vue.js, React.js, and DApps and Web3 with more than 5 years of experience at building front-end apps interacting with smart contracts on DeFi. One of my previous projects is Yam.finance. I have contributed to updating Yam Finance website and worked with teammates on multiple Yam projects and solved many issues on Yam repos. That's all.
Oh, okay, welcome. I'm assuming you want to join as a dev, right?
What?
To join as a developer?
Yeah.
Yes. So I think maybe how did you find out about DXDAO, and like how can we get in touch with you, or have you guys?
I can jump in here, Elon. So like I think Gemino has actually been doing some outreach and has introduced a few people to DAO, which is great. Melanie and I are kind of coordinating with these folks to see their resumes, what they're interested in, and if there's a way, opportunities to onboard them into DXDAO. So yeah, that's kind of being handled in Keybase, and yeah, welcome to everybody who's new here.
Yes, amazing. Welcome everyone. Yeah, so I guess the next topic on the agenda will be basically brainstorming a few ideas for Omen. This could be either markets, communication strategies, or business development opportunities that we think we have. I'm not exactly sure like how to structure this, but this could just be like an open conversation on how to progress Omen. I think it is the most ready product that we have right now, and yeah, there's a lot of opportunities out there. Yeah, to promote Omen, to create markets for Omen, and yeah, to create collaborations even for DXDAO itself with other projects.
Yeah, Nylon, I could provide some additional framing. So Omen, Omen's obviously made a lot of progression, and it's running mainly on XDAI, and it's cheaper and easier and more fun to use as long as you can get familiar with the way you use it currently. It's still on mainnet and obviously on XDAI, and a few months back we started, like we had a market competition. We created a bunch of new markets. Omen Squad had funded a handful of those, and in general, getting people aware of Omen. Obviously there's this, a lot of people think Omen is Gnosis, and so getting more awareness about DXDAO and Omen and who uses Omen. Like mainly it's just crypto people, and mainly it's crypto people in the Ethereum space at this point, right? It's not a lot of outsiders. So one of the goals that we started was to really leverage like markets about specific projects that would have people interested in like a prediction market around a topic that they were interested in. So we actually had like a Uniswap market, a compound market, a few other markets. And now recently there's been some meme markets about obviously the Andre Cronje fight and stuff like that. And so the way you leverage that and get awareness of those that we've been doing is really on Twitter. And so if people have ideas for markets that are relevant, that could be a good market, that can put some liquidity in, and that will get the attention of crypto Twitter in certain project communities, and then that community, publishes out. There's a little feedback, but if that community publishes out, like, oh, check out the Uniswap market on Omen, and pushes their audience towards that. It's a really good marketing strategy. It's a great awareness strategy. Keenan, I believe, has like looked at some of the Twitter numbers in the past that we've done the last few months, and a lot of good. Hey, Din, can someone mute Din? Thanks. And yeah, so when the impressions on Twitter and like people retweeting those markets and things has been pretty successful from like a Twitter engagement. Getting the activity of people trading those markets is another obstacle. So how we get that improved is like something else. But getting awareness using our Twitter and stuff is great. So if like more markets that people come up with that are good ideas for those specific third-party communities, like, yeah, share them here, really bring them to Omen Keybase. Like, we can do this asynchronously. We have a market sheet where we've collected markets in the past, then we did votes and competitions. We could do another upcoming competition. The markets that won the last competition got funded. They didn't get much success trading, so maybe they weren't like the ones that people really want to trade. But yeah, so ideas, brainstorming, and then we can formalize another competition or just fund some of the ones that this community thinks are good markets. So that's kind of the background. And so any ideas that people have, please share.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. And a way we attract liquidity onto Swapper is with farming campaigns. So if we wish to attract liquidity to Omen, I think we should go along the same lines. And the way Predicted are doing it, they have a leaderboard, and they're rewarding participants who are consistently accurate with their predictions. So if we do that, especially once we have the Omen token, and not necessarily, we can even do it with DXT, but I don't think it's preferred because of its inherent value. But on one hand, we will incentivize participants to do more research and participate and try and be more accurate, which will improve the service. On the other hand, it will engage them and have them trade and actually, put liquidity, because there's a chance that they get a better buyback with the rewards for being accurate.
I think that is a very great idea. Like once we have the guild MVP installed, we actually can keep track of like liquidity providers and governors. There will be probably like this group will kind of merge into one. Mostly, like, governors will probably be also market makers, and like the goal at the end of the day is like to create a very healthy open community about like prediction markets and markets. And yeah, having like the liquidity rewards contracts installed, we can very easily keep track of who provided liquidity and who earned Omen tokens. And with that, we can have like a rank of who's actually the best liquidity provider in combination with like market creation, governing activities. So I think there's like a lot we can leverage and actually like showcase like what the real community is all about. Right. So I think that is like long-term perspective, definitely something we should focus on, like is socializing the app. It should be a game. It should be also fun. So that is something which will come at some point. But like I think we also need to think about what we can do now to have great markets, have great liquidity, and have actually like people talk about those markets.
So I was actually thinking about this in like sort of like a more holistic way from like the DXDAO's perspective. So let's take the example of Index and DPI and that sort of community. My thoughts were around, okay, we create a couple of prediction markets that are related to Index or to DPI. Let's say the price. That's kind of like the first step. The second step is to actually go and participate in their community. And another interesting thing that I see for Omen to do is sort of like the KPI options, like Uma is doing. So what do you call it? Like Index, they could incentivize, like they want, let's say, $1 billion in TVL, right? They could incentivize their community to actually get to $2 billion in TVL by creating a prediction market where the prediction market asks, will DPI reach $1 billion in TVL? And if they provide liquidity to it, and then if the market resolves to correct, then it's kind of distributed to all the participants of DPI or something like that. So like, and this is just in Omen. Like we can also attack this from the swapper front and tell them, okay, well, also a part of this will be like liquidity provision on swapper, but we have like a suite of products that could really push us, and we can really, I don't know, sort of like take over or create value for other communities through Omen. So yeah, that's kind of it. If that makes sense, I don't know. I feel like I might have detoured.
Yeah, and a while ago I mentioned I had this idea to engage the community of the Socios app, the sports fans that are using the Chili's token for governance. I reached out to the CEO of the company, and the thing is that they are in a heavily regulated environment, and it's a legal entity, and they're worried about the implications of being involved with gambling, and they're not comfortable even with retweeting a campaign that someone else has initiated. They really don't want to have anything to do with promoting such an activity, but they wouldn't be against it if anyone else does it, as long as they're not a part of it. So we can totally engage the e-gaming and sports fan community by creating some markets that they could participate in, but it would be difficult to draw in any involvement from established legal entities and the companies behind those projects. Recently, there's been a new phenomenon on Twitter with people going on Twitch and rewarding musicians. I think there's a lot of potential for us to use our marketing skills and try and engage communities on Twitch around e-gaming and attract them onto Amen. So this is also an avenue to explore.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty cool guerrilla marketing push we can definitely do. Like esports, like I think there are other, like I actually expect mostly crypto folks would use Omen right now because it's still like there's still barriers to entry. People need to know, like people need to get ETH, people need to get DAI, people need to use a bridge. It's pretty costly right now. So like we could do that, like going to like streams and actually like even streams about bigger games and just distribute some DAI and and tell people like actually create the market about like the specific game and send out DAI to people, and it doesn't need to be big. They just need to play around with Omen, right?
Yeah, there's other interesting opportunities which we've done and have another one in the pipeline. Is there are some communities that they're like, oh, I wish we had we could use our token for prediction markets, and so stake was one that we added on XDAI so that stake community could use stake as the collateral of prediction markets, and there's been a couple of those markets. And then more recently, Rye community, it's like DAI. It's a stable, it's a non-dollar stable coin. And that someone from that community was in our Discord and had expressed interest in, Rye being on Augur at some point in the future. But we are working on getting Rye into Omen, and then once Rye, a lot of Rye lovers would maybe be interested in creating or participating in Rye-based markets on Omen, which is like a kind of a tangential way to draw in a community as well.
Totally. And something the RF Noob mentioned on Discord was following global events. For example, that there's going to be a World Chess Championship in Dubai in October. And there are a lot of chess fans in the crypto community. But what we could do, there's a difference between people who are able to provide liquidity and people who come up with good ideas. They're not necessarily the same person. So what we could have is a page where people like the RF Noob who can suggest such markets, but not necessarily have the funds to create them, and then have liquidity providers, pick a market from that list, create a market, and share a percentage of their rewards with the person that suggested the market. Kind of a way to gamify the whole thing, incentivize people to populate the platform with a long list of potentially interesting markets, and then introduce LPs to that list and create them.
So,
and on the
sorry.
Go ahead.
Since I was invoked, I wanted to say something. So this is all great, but my perception is slightly different. The product is already great. It's fun to use, Omen. So I think basically people just need to learn that this thing exists, right? And have a very simple user experience. So it's not so much about rewarding people for gambling, basically, for playing with Omen. We just want them to know that the product exists. And so I think we should have my idea with chess was I wanted to suggest to partner with Chess24, for example, that they do these big streams on YouTube about chess. But basically, we would need to just offer them a good interface and a simple procedure to basically bring their users to Omen, and that's it. I don't think we need to pay them so much in revenues and stuff. And I think there are still some barriers. For example, at the moment, if I understand correctly, I have a limited experience with Omen, but so suppose a chess game ends at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. To get paid, you need to wait 5 days at the moment. So that's totally unacceptable as a user experience. So we need to offer something to so the organizer of the market, for example, should have the ability to quickly end terminate the market or decide the winner. Or something like that, basically. So we need to improve the accessibility of the product. I don't believe so much in rewards, to be honest, but that's just my perception.
Well, this is a good product idea for quick settlement. If we introduce a way for market makers to pay a certain markup and thus be entitled to a quicker settlement at the end, that's a good service on its own.
So quicker settlement will mean that we need to add different types of Oracle providers, right? Right now we have a robust cockroach system called Reality, which is like very generic and it works basically for any question. But like in the future, we could like add specialized oracles like API 3 for like crypto trading and stuff like that, which would mean instant settlement once the market is closed. I definitely agree with like all you said, the RF noob. Our main issue is that our markets are not like 2K for a market is like it's like a playground. Serious people don't deal with those markets. So I think we need to improve liquidity. I mean, this will come with the guild, but maybe we can like to actually make sure that the Omen token launch and the guild launch is successful is by doing mainly guerrilla marketing on Twitter, because that is like the crowd. Like most of the crypto guys got rich now. They want to like play around with all their money. And like Caden actually did like really good guerrilla marketing, and I think we should take that as an example of how we should do those things on Twitter. He just created a market and like shared it and tried to make advertisement for it, and it worked out.
Yeah, I was going to mention that market that Caden created, because on the topic of kind of observing current events and reacting quickly, like there was a tweet about, you know, like some couple famous, like prominent crypto Twitter personalities basically challenging each other and talking back and forth about doing a real fight in like Miami or something at like the Bitcoin conference or whatever, right? And you know, it sort of seems like a joke at first, but everybody's like retweeting and liking it. And Caden like creates a market and is like, you know, who's going to win in a fight? Like, is it Andre or is it Crypto Messiah? And he like throws it out there. And it had a really like tiny amount of liquidity. When I saw it, I threw like a little bit more in just so it wasn't like super, super low. I mean, it's had like $30 of trading volume. So not really a meaningful amount of actual trading, but the level of engagement on Twitter, I think, is pretty impressive. Like there were like tons of likes on the tweet that we put up for Omen. There's like lots of mentions and likes on around this market from like crypto Twitter, and that's good for just brand awareness, right? So there's, yeah.
I actually think that's actually the perfect, like that was the perfect experience really for Omen right now. I guess like it has not yet generated a lot of volume, but just like how many people that maybe like casually have heard of Omen before, like saw that tweet and then are like, oh, that's right. Like Omen is a decentralized betting site. I remember maybe with the presidential election or like the ETH2 staking content. So I do think a lot of the things that we'd be doing or wanting to promote are not necessarily going to be like tons of volume right now, but are going to like be a lot in terms of like building overall brand awareness of Omen.
Yeah, talking about it is in some ways as valuable as like actual trading on it, and I think a lot of these ideas that people have are great for the product roadmap, like you know, improving onboarding, like getting people to like more cheaply get their money in, like conditional token farming. All this stuff is really cool ideas, but like I would say, like our job here, like on the biz dev call, is not to like work on the product roadmap. Our job is to like work with the tools that we have today. And like, how do we like actually get people to engage with that, right? So that's like scalar markets, categorical markets, on XDAI and mainnet. And so we got to think, what do we do? Yeah, what do we do with these tools that we have?
Yeah, so what I think is like we need to do Caden activity, basically guerrilla marketing. Someone sees something on Twitter, some dude is like, oh, I would bet against you with some BTC. And like, that is the perfect moment because like, they are on those social media networks. They present themselves as having skin in the game, and we're actually like the gorillas who is like, oh yeah, we created a market for you. Show some skin in the game, and that will like drive engagement.
And I think the perfect, not to cut you off, Joe, but I think the perfect example of that was the ETH2 like proof of the beacon chain launch back in the fall of last year. There was a pretty liquid market on mainnet about like when would the ETH2 like beacon chain launch, and there was a lot of engagement and a lot of trading on that market. And like people on Twitter, like you had, ETH2 protocol devs putting their own money in and tweeting about it and saying it's going to launch this year, right? Like you had like Ethereum Foundation people being like, it's going to launch this year, because it was such like hotly like talked about topic, and something people were pretty sensitive about, and something people had strong feelings about as well. And I think that was kind of a great example.
Yeah, this was also because Martin opened the market, and he provided a lot of liquidity initially, right? I think it was something like that.
Yeah, and this is where the Omen squad needs to not as crazy as Martin is doing for now until the guild is installed, but the Omen squad needs to I don't think those 2K liquidity markets are actually useful. I think we need to similar how Augur is doing it. They pick one, they're actually betting on 1-2 big markets and try to promote the shit out of that. And to summarize my point, Cade and guerrilla marketing on crypto Twitter is enough for us right now. And second, we need to create a community list where basically anyone can propose markets, and then we need to nail down 1-2 big ones. Thinking about what is ahead of us in the next coming months, the chess game is perfect. Those communities, they're really engaged in chess. My brother is actually watching YouTube videos about chess every night, which is crazy. But it's actually a bigger community, and they would love to bet on those two actors, similar to boxing. So we need to have a calendar ahead of us and see what is coming up. And the third and my last point is, I think Augur is also doing another smart thing on Twitter, where they actually do polls where people can start engaging without doing any crypto shit, where they we can actually gather information about what people think about a specific Omen market on Twitter, and then try to reflect, okay, I don't know, 80% thought this is the outcome, but the Omen market is actually showing something completely different, which is exactly what we want to do, right? Showcasing the difference between social media activity and people just thinking that is the outcome, but there are actually people who are betting money and the results are kind of different. And we need to showcase that and keep people engaged with the Omen Twitter account.
Yeah, I want to make a comment that XDAI is perfect for small bets, small events. But for the time that we want, the masses to join, it's better mainnet, right? So when we have a market with 200 ETH or something of liquidity, that's because people will not just come to XDAI to bet on something. So if we want to go viral, we want to be ready on mainnet when the time comes. And I had another point about oracles. I think Omen can be really a DeFi product if, for example, we bet on the price of something. That can be used to hedge about it going up or going down, or gas prices, etc. And it would be nice if an oracle could just track, I don't know, Chainlink or MakerDAO oracles and, settle immediately when information is ready, in a sort of, avoiding this oracle that reality IO, I think. So that could be improving the user experience, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, to that point, there is actually an approved contract for the maker system, so we could use this module for reality to basically get maker oracle prices. I think sadly only for ETH, but I think that is enough for now.
I think that would be great because, for example, there was, I think, today or yesterday, a post in the MakerDAO forum about hedging against ETH dropping in value. So Omen could be just it's a perfect answer because it's audited and it's decentralized and everything. And if they can use MakerDAO's oracles, that would be perfect, right?
I suggested to one of the owners of one of the big websites like, for example, CoinMarketCap, have Omen integrated into their website, so they have pages for what the top 10 would look like in 1 week, in half a month, in 1 month, in 3 months, 6 months, and in a year. However, they were ecstatic about the idea. They loved it. And they said, unfortunately, they can't do it, again, for legal reasons. So it's a good idea, but it would take action on our side. We need to really think of the ways. I totally agree with John, what he said about having to figure out how to work with what we already have and not, dilute our work with new ideas that are just gonna delay getting traction. But it's gonna be difficult. The idea about asking people to put their money where their mouth is when they challenge each other. I've done this a couple of times. They completely ignore it because on one hand, they are OGs involved with other products that see us as a competitor. And on the other hand, many of them, they just talk the talk, but they don't want to walk the walk. So the guerrilla marketing idea sounds exciting. It caught some traction with Messi and Andre, but I don't think it's gonna work effectively on a large scale and long term. So we need to be more creative and more proactive internally. And I think the token, the Allen token, will help us with that. We need to have a good portion allocated towards bounties and a way to incentivize the community.
Yeah, these meme markets and getting awareness for Omen and using Twitter for that's great, and we should keep doing more of that. But the data that we look at too is how do you actually get people trading these markets? Which markets do people want to trade? And so you can look at Polymarket, for example, and you can actually see their volumes. If we don't know where their volumes come from, but you can actually, this is like soft vampire. Until we have a token, we can just copy the popular markets, put those on Omen, and people that don't want to use centralized Polymarket can use Omen for the same exact market. But there is data that exists for which markets people actually trade, and often they're not the markets that we're putting like with memes and stuff, right? The memes are cool and they gain awareness, but no one wants to trade them. So we gotta figure out the balance between copying the ones that people actually want to trade, and the ETH2 one was a good example, the ETH2 one, and there should be more core crypto people where people actually want to put big financial value on those core events within the Ethereum world probably. And then there's a separate thing is are those markets okay and safe to provide liquidity on? Because most of them, as a liquidity provider, you probably get run over, which is, maybe that's a marketing expense, but those can get volume too.
Yeah, and on the safety from a liquidity perspective thing, the thing I like to kind of focus on, at least as the primary thing, is you want to avoid markets that that you think are likely to move on a dime, right? If something if a little piece of news is likely to come out in some window that you're not going to be prepared for, and basically cause the market to go 100% on one side, you will in that event, you'll lose all your money as a liquidity provider. So you want to
expand on that though. It's not even just instant on a dime. If the market is probably only going to move one direction, even if it's slow, you can still lose all your money.
Yes.
It's
serious. It's serious business, right? Providing liquidity on this stuff. So I mean, yeah.
But yeah, in general, Omen Squad has not been using giants amount, and Claros people said that there should be $1 million into the markets and things, and these things are risky in general. There hasn't been too many big loss markets, which is fortunate, but I don't know about putting 50K into a market using DXDAO's money unless everyone really agree that is a really good market and worth that risk. That's a big number, obviously. So that is almost a additional decision. But maybe with bigger treasury and to help the future of Omen, we need to identify or put aside a bigger pot of money and really have confidence to put 50K in like Gnosis was doing to try to like get behind a market. And the cool thing is you could see what markets are gaining traction, like the ones on Polymarket or the ones on Omen, and then you can always add more liquidity. You don't have to start with big liquidity. You could put 5K in a bunch, and then if like everyone's trading one, you can just add more into that, right? And then it makes
I think that's a great insight, right? Because like you could test the waters to like see that like your idea of what the market thinks is the current probability is, holds up with small amounts of liquidity, and then double down with like larger amounts later.
Yeah, and then just to add like whether it's chess or sports games, like the RF noob saying like you want to remove liquidity at move number 6 or 7 on a chess match. Like, okay, that's very specific, but like chances are we probably have to remove liquidity before the actual match starts or like the soccer match starts. And then the question is how much volatility on differing opinions does like a soccer match have before it actually starts? Because like once it starts, then it's probably too late to like start moving and adding liquidity, right?
But I think matchups in general, like things that happen on like this, specific date in the future are good like candidates for being safer markets because you have a very specific date in which you can remove your liquidity before. Versus something even like will ETH2 launch this year? Like if you're kind of just leaving it wide open and then all of a sudden like they deploy it and oops, like there goes the market, right? So like I think a combination of like selecting things that are happening on a predictable date and like ramping up liquidity to gauge the like market sentiment could be like two good kind of like pillars of safety.
There's an interesting there's the Euro Cup soccer. So like picking the winner of the Euro Cup soccer this coming summer, which, most people like soccer. You may want to bet on it. It's not had a lot of volume so far, but as it approaches, I would expect that to become more popular. And then the question is like, do different people in different countries have different views, and that creates volatility among the different teams that people are picking? And like the tournament lasts a month, so theoretically you could leave the market going during the beginning of the tournament, probably, right? But then you can't really leave it like too long. So that would be an interesting one to follow, and maybe add more liquidity as we approach and people get interested in that in the Euro Cup, right?
Yeah. So with something like the Euro Cup, like you don't have to do like one market. You can create like 20. Like who's going to be the final 4? Who's gonna make it to the finals? Who's going to win it like the first stages? Like there are many things you can do. So I think like we can take something like the Euro and like just like double down on it. Create lots of markets, do some significant marketing with Chile's communities as well. And yeah, like I think this like big events like that could be great. Yeah. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say is that usually in these soccer type betting stuff, as soon as the game starts, you can't bet anymore. So
okay, so one definite takeaway is like we had in the past. Well, there is a markets sheet. We can every week we can repost that sheet, which is community collection for markets, which is just ideas, right? And we could post that in the Omen channel and the Omen Discord, and people can add their markets to there. But then separately, we've run competitions using XDAI competition scheme in order to like get markets that then have, if the winners get rewards, right? And so that's an alternative. So if you have the question is if you're running both of those, if you have a good idea, which one are you going to put it on, right? So should we only use the open spreadsheet, or should we only use the market competition scheme? Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
I think as long as we have a simple tutorial, we should probably use the competition scheme. Yeah, the fact that we will have rewards for like the best 3 or 5 means like people are actually getting something out of it, right? We can actually distribute rep and probably DXD. So I think that should be sufficient for getting like those prediction market people into.
Cool. So we can run another one of those. Like it's a little of a slow process because of the way the competition dates and things work. It's a little better on XDAI though. But then separately, should we have a spreadsheet that anyone doesn't even care? They could just openly add markets to that spreadsheet.
I think like having both will be confusing. I think we should double down on the competition scheme, having like people who manage it. Like even like we need to do proper advertisement for that. We need to like have someone who has some XDAI who will just send out like 10 cents of XDAI and send them like a tutorial about, hey, do you have a market idea? Give me your address. I will send you XDAI. This is the link. This is a tutorial. Do it. Get rewards.
Okay, so it's tying the two things together could be the awareness that we get from these meme markets, which not many people trade on. If in the same tweet or just below the tweet, it's like, you want to bet on the Andre fight? Oh, by the way, you can also enter the market competition and win DAI and rep. If those are in the same tweet or at least the same thread, that will take advantage of the awareness we're getting that is not leading to trading, but then it will get people to be aware of the market competition.
Yeah, just another impression I have is that betting on these 1 year long events is kind of boring in the sense, okay, it works well for a Twitter discussion, but are you going to lock 10 XDAI and wait 1 year for the fight? And I don't see that going very well. I think we should try to get more quick markets, right? So you get the answer the day after or something. I mean, I know that's problematic for oracles and stuff, but you want more hype and not lock your ETH or XDAI for 1 year. Or even 1 month is a lot, really.
Is 3 days so horrible?
Not the settlement, but like, yeah, it's true that in a bull market, who's taking their ETH, turning into DAI and betting on a Omen market for 6 months, right? Not many people. That's probably not why people are not wanting to do that, even if they're going to earn some interest or whatever. And so that is when in a bull market, I think long-term prediction markets become less favorable for sure. Locking up your money.
Are there any simple? Sorry, just one question. Like, are there simple like curation tools like to like crowdsource market ideas? Like, I'm just picturing a very simple interface where you like type in your idea and then people can upvote it, and it like goes up the rank if it's upvoted.
I mean, I'm thinking of like what's the minimal way to get some signal on like what these ideas are, and I think it's more of like, is there a place where people like share the idea, right? I'm thinking a little bit about the Discord channel in Omen that's like Omen market ideas, and how could that become the place that when you see something on Twitter, when you see someone like Elon Musk not doing or doing an NFT, you just like kind of instantly come there and be like, is this an Omen market? Yeah. And then that could be like a discussion of new market ideas, because like there will be a lot of markets that people want to share that don't end up getting created markets. So like, where is that discussion area happening? I think Discord is like a pretty great tool.
So that's market discovery, and then there's simple software tools like Zapper.fi uses, where if you want to add a token or you want to add a feature, you put your idea on there, and then everyone who has to have an account can upvote it or downvote it. And so it's a way to take normally product features, but you could do it with markets as well, and you could upvote and downvote those.
And some people are known to have done DAO governance through Discord, upvoting and downvoting too.
But I mean, it is a cool, like, with this crypto fight boxing match, a couple of people that like know about Omen like DM'd me being like, oh, this should be a prediction market on Omen. And like, it already was because Caden had created it. And I was like, oh, what do you look, it actually already is. But like, you know, think of like, instead of DMing one of us, like there should be a place where people can go and be like, why, you know, why isn't this already a market?
Yeah. I think that should be on Discord. And I think this is like really crucial to Omen's, like Omen needs to build like a brand awareness, like more than anything, and build a community of people like arguing about markets. And like, where is that community like living, discussing odds, saying, wow, I can't believe that this one is at, you know, 20% or kind of whatever. I guess we have this a little bit in the Keybase now. But I think this could be an opportunity for the Omen Discord to like build out more.
Yeah, is there like a ranking plugin for Discord where people can submit like entries and I don't know, every week the community will vote on market ideas, just like thumbs up, thumbs down. Can't be that hard.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, Keenan, like even posting a handful of markets and putting emoji thumbs up, emoji thumbs down, and like say vote for your favorite markets on Discord, and it's a really simple way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, that's even easier. It probably wouldn't even need automation, at least until we have lots of people voting to reduce muddiness.
Keenan, is there a way to add like Ethereum address to a Discord account? My goal is that we, like normal people who don't really want to bother with XDAI base, like if we know their Ethereum address, then we can actually like include them into the competition scheme or something like that, right?
I'd have to look into it. Natively, no, I know for sure. But there might be some kind of solution.
So there is Collabland, which we use, which is how you verify if you have DXD. That can also be a wallet. So you can, most communities do this. Like you can say, tip everyone that's in Discord right now 1 DXD, and then you sends everyone 1 DXD. The wallet is a centralized wallet though. Like it's a wallet attached to your Discord handle, and then you as a person have to withdraw the tokens from that wallet, which is like a tip bot. You withdraw that to your own personal wallet if you want to.
Yeah, I think he was referring specifically to seeing, like, linking an Ethereum address directly to an account, as opposed to that. I guess that would be a solution, though.
I think it would be a really cool engagement idea if some, you know, community member proposes an idea in the Discord that gets a certain number of upvotes, they are automatically sent $100 to go create that market on their own on the like XDAI Omen.
Yep.
Like referrals.
The tip bot is not working for XDAI network, probably, right?
No, I think it should. Yeah.
So that is actually like a pretty good idea. I mean, Ethereum mainnet addresses are also XDAI addresses. So yeah, people who go to Discord, put a market in, win the reward, we could tip them 100 XDAI, and they can just go to Omen on XDAI and just create the market by themselves. The downside is they can just like leave with the 100 DAI.
But much shame would be brought upon them.
I mean, would you go and steal $100? Like, I mean, you'd be better off like actually creating the market and then making some money. You know?
I'm sure they'll just steal the money and run away, to be honest.
I like to have a little more faith in humanity than this. Let's see a couple people steal it before we kill it.
Let's have a betting market, like an Omen market, whether people will actually steal it or not. Then, yeah.
I mean, you've heard of these, like, you know, like the tip jars and stuff in public. Like, people, I think in general, are pretty sensitive to social pressure. Like, you know, and people are pretty similar actually at the end of the day. And it's like, I think if there's like, you know, they get 10 upvotes in a Discord, I actually be kind of surprised if people are stealing the money instead of following through on it. But we'd see. I mean, if they do, then we can kill it.
The issue with Discord is 50% of it's anonymous handles, right?
Yeah, it's true.
If I wanted to also give a bit of time to the RF Noob to talk to me about DX Ventures, but let's first wrap up the Omen discussion. And if we have like concrete action items. Anyone wants to comment?
So I think one important thing is that we need someone who's taking responsibility of Twitter activity. The Omen Twitter account is boring, not active. We need someone who's active, who's kind of representing the input from the community. Like the example I gave is we need to create a calendar about very important events. We need to know what is going to happen. We need to prepare markets for those events. Like most importantly, crypto events, blockchain updates, sports, chess, like markets which are even like liquidity provision safe, mostly. We need to know what is like up ahead of us, at least 6 months. The person on Twitter needs to take care of communicating that those markets will happen with like nice polls. Basically having the Omen market on Twitter as a poll, like to preparation, and then being active on those very important markets. So we need someone who's taking responsibility on that.
Yeah, so in regards to that, I actually had a word to Melanie, because I feel like we need a lot more than just the high-level marketer that we're looking for. I think we need several low-level marketers that have very specific tasks. Like, for example, the social media of Omen, basically right now it's just Keenan and me, and I'm pretty busy with the tokenomics. So we basically need just one person that is entirely focused on handling social media and doing exactly those kind of things where every day he just thinks about tweeting at least 1 or 2 tweets.
Yep, that was no critique to you guys. I know everyone is very busy, but I agree. I totally agree.
No, it's just like,
yeah, we need specific, like we need an Omen gorilla master.
Yep.
Yeah, this has become increasingly obvious in the last couple of weeks of our communication marketing calls. Like we're fighting for this high level marketer, and we're hoping that they will have that organizational role as well as of filling all of these smaller blanks that we have. Ergo, like me and Mac and I are the only ones really with the Omen Twitter, and realistically, social media for each product itself is almost a full-time job, and we're all kind of stretched thin. I have a designer marketing colleague that may be interested in the position. I can put some feelers out for that.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think of this as like a low-level position. Like, I think this is a pretty important role, and I think what we need is somebody who's like hungry, scrappy, and like would have fun doing this. Yeah. Like I think of like you guys know like the CMS intern on Twitter, like the super famous like crypto Twitter, like that, and like I know the guy who started that firm, and like he, you know, they just like hired him and gave him the Twitter, and he like ran with it, right? Like we just need somebody who's gonna like run with it. And like, who knows how to? I don't know how to find that person.
Is it actually an intern? I thought it was just like them fucking around.
No, yeah, I think it's like actually just somebody who like started at CMS and they like gave him the Twitter account and then he just like ran with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bull market, right? So it's going to be difficult, you know, for someone to get paid, I don't know, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month. To run Twitter, or you know, they could probably like run their own and like yield farm and you know do all this degen stuff for probably more. So
no, but I mean, I think some people are like, you know, just living on Twitter for fun anyways, and this would just be like an extension of their normal life. And they're not getting paid for what they're doing on Twitter right now, you know?
Yeah.
And especially in a bull market, right? Because there's just so much excitement and like new energy.
Yeah, maybe we could find like students who are, you know, as a part-time thing, you know, take over some of these stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So Arif, maybe we will talk about the DX Venture stuff next week because we kind of run out of time, and I think like maybe there's still a few more things to discuss regarding Omen. So. Yeah, so just to add to this Twitter thing, I think what Caden has done, it really implies to me at least that it shouldn't only just be the Omen Twitter. It should be every single one of us. If we see something relevant and, you know, create a market and, you know, tag the Omen bot in it. And this shouldn't be difficult. I think we're all on Twitter and we all see opportunities for that. So, yeah. Any other comments? Thoughts?
I guess Caden isn't on the call to bask in. I feel like we've said good job to him a bunch of times, and I don't see him, but good market.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we should figure out a calendar. I think that's what Johnny was saying. Figure out a calendar for future potential events for open markets. Let's say a big one, a tentative big one, or two big ones is this chess tournament, and the second one is the Euro Cup. And yeah, to find social media guy for Omen, maybe for DXDAO.
And if you think of a market, share it or share market ideas, whether it's with other people in the Omen Discord or in the Omen Keybase. I think we should just kind of be sharing different market ideas more freely.
Yeah. I have a market idea for will Polygon get hacked in the next month? Hacked or something on it will get hacked. So I'll probably make that and fill it out with some liquidity.
That's awesome. I love that one.
Yeah.
Pretty dangerous for LPs.
Yeah. I mean, so that's kind of like the problem because you have these sudden things which are super dangerous for LPs. So.
Just the Arbitrum news is getting out there with OKX. It's nice to see it on Twitter and Arbitrum, and especially because Arbitrum has like the Chainlink army behind it too. So I've seen it picked up a little bit there, and then also Larva Labs, who did CryptoPunks, just announced a new project.
I think that's actually like really huge, like the Arbitrum integration to OKX. I think that having Asia behind Arbitrum is actually like super interesting in terms of competing against Optimism.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting from OKX perspective because, like, obviously Binance is not going to do it, right? Like, Binance has their own like kind of ecosystem, and even I guess like Huobi is the same thing. I think they have like a smart chain that's not as successful. So maybe OKX is like, okay, well, we'll try to like team up or go in on Arbitrum instead and develop a quick on and off ramp to that.
Yeah. All right. Oh yeah. So there's like gambling as well. I guess that could also be super cool, actually, like the Gaming World Cup or whatever it's called. If we can get to those communities, it could be like it's just super yeah, super successful. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else? Any other comments, thoughts? Let's get Omen to the moon. Woo! Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, if that's it, we can end the call.